All right. Back in the saddle. You know what it is, man. Space Talk. Upper Room Edition. Shout out to all of the Upper Room members. Exclusive access. I say ya. But, like I said, man. As soon as y'all start getting this thing, man, we'll start doing this thing how we do, man. You ask the questions, I give you the answers, to today's performance, which, like I said, man, was not what we necessarily wanted, man. 17-14, obviously those guys getting the dub. Not feeling that. Michael Patrick McCracken, I see you in the building. Salute you. Micah Hemp, hello. Oh yeah, I see you sliding up in. Let's go, Jason Winston. Yes, indeed. Be more _, Stiller _ Graham. Let's get it, man. So, yeah, you're right. So far, everyone in the division has lost. So, that is a positive, man. 100% that's a positive. Because, number one, it keeps us in contention. It keeps us in the conversation. So while we are going through some of these growing pains, while we are, having some highs and some lows and stuff like that, as a whole, we're not falling out of contention too early. So that's a really good thing, man. Now, Rod Dollar, I know you tuning in from Shoreline, baby. Always tuned up to 330. But no football for 24 hours for you? No. At the same time, I get it, though, man. Anytime it's an L, it does have that effect, man. Some people need to just completely unplug. I'm like the opposite. I'm over here like, yo, I need to dive back into the tape. Let me see what happened. As soon as I can see it, then I can feel better about it, and I can put it to rest, and we can move on. Yeah. But, that 24-hour rule, man, it's going to be fast this week anywho, man, because we do play on Thursday night, man, against the Cleveland Browns, man. So we don't have a lot of time to play. We don't have a lot of time to waste, and we're on the road, so we lose a day on top of that because we're traveling. So, yeah, man, we're going to get into that tape. Believe that. All righty. And Michael Patrick says the Bengals are losing now. All right, well, that's definitely good to hear. Okay. Who? And Jason Winston says sour taste in the mouth after this loss. Yeah, I can definitely agree with the sour taste because it felt like that was one that we should have won. It was one on paper where we weren't underdogs. It was, and I know Vegas. Oh yeah, man, points. I get that. But when we're talking about the difference of that Bengals game pregame versus Patriots pregame, the Bengals game, we felt pissed off. Remember Black Air Force One energy and all of that because we were the underdogs, because they had on paper the better roster and the better team. They had the superstars. They had the team that was coming off of playing in the Super Bowl. So we understood why our energy had to be what it was, but today that wasn't the case. Today we weren't looking at that Patriots team saying, man, how are we going to match it with these guys? How are we going to match it with this quarterback? What are we going to do with their D-line? No, that wasn't the case at all. But this felt like one that we did let go. The turnovers you cannot have. Not the way our team is designed right now. You can't do that. When you're talking about this team not being able to stretch the field once again, or defensively not being able to stop the run when we needed to, those are areas where we got to be better. Those are areas where, we can't do that. It just can't happen, man. So, yeah, I feel you, though. I definitely feel you. All right. Let's see. Trina Still Diva 5. What up, Trina Still Diva? She says, don't jinx it. Let's hope the Cowboys get it done. Well, hello. Come on now. Let's need that. Now, am I conflicted because I'm cheering for the Dallas to win, or are we cheering for Cincy to lose? Y'all got, you got to clarify for me. I'm just asking for a friend. Ask for a friend here, all right? Yeah. Here we go. Don Juan. Shout out to Don Juan. Tell her how it really is. He says, man, the people in the other chat are really Mitch haters, all caps. Yeah, well, the thing we have to understand is this. Because there has been this new change at quarterback, no longer Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, it's, it's like when the snake gets his head cut off, everything is going nuts, right? Or if the leader of the group is gone, then it's like, man, who's going where, who's who, what's what? Yeah, so we understand that people are going to be very sensitive and hyper-reactive at times to quarterback play. For those that are pro Mitch, they're going to be supporting him and what he does. Those that are pro Kenny, they're going to support him and be pro for what he does. That's kind of the dynamic, and that's kind of the world that we're in right now. So anything that Mitch does that is not overly appealing to the masses, people are going to critique it, even if he does something good, like we saw last week, and at times like we saw this week. But that will continue to get overlooked because We know people want who they want, man, and it's gonna be no different when Kenny comes in. It just won't be to the same extent because I don't think that the pro Mitch crowd is as large as the pro Kenny crowd. But either way, I think that we're gonna feel this type of dissension, this type of you know hyper analyzing these quarterbacks because we don't have Ben Roethlisberger out there right now. All right. Oh, we did have a super that came in. Shout out to AJ Martinez. He says, "Is it possible we can lose the game before it starts? Knowing nothing, New England's got our number." I don't personally feel like they have our number, but I can understand that sentiment if people want to think like that. But yeah, to me, I just think this is as simple as execution, man. When you don't execute in critical areas, when you put the ball on the ground and you lose the turnover battle and you don't protect the quarterback to the level that you need to, along with not getting out their quarterback the way that we need to, them running the ball, us not being able to run the ball, a lot of that goes into it. So I don't think it's who has whose number. I just think it's who's executing, And we are a team that can execute better than what we did today. That's the frustrating part. I didn't think that New England did anything today that was groundbreaking, that was surprising. I would say the part that probably was a little bit more uncharacteristic from what I saw on tape from them was just Jacoby Myers and the wide receiver group having the success they were having against our DBs. But as a whole, I didn't think that they were going to do anything different than what they did. It was just crazy to see us responding how we did in certain manners, and that was the part where we got to be better as a team. All right, Michael Patrick McCracken spent in the block, and he says, "I said it at the end of preseason. If it is close, you should start Pickett. I find it hard to believe Pickett would be much worse. Likely to be much better. Way more upside, not a Mitch hater." No, you don't got to be a Mitch hater right there. It just seems that you're more optimistic about Kenny, but we're never going to know right now. I get why you're optimistic about him, and I can make a case for the optimism as well. For the people that are pessimistic about Kenny, I can make a case for why they should be pessimistic as well, man. This is one of those things, when you're talking about these quarterbacks and you're talking about replacing a Hall of Fame quarterback in that level of play, it's going to be different. This is a part of it. We can make the assumptions of how close it may or may not be, but are we really going to critique Kenny on the same level of how people are critiquing Mitch? And that's the real question. Because I personally don't think that's the case. I don't think that anyone's going to be calling for Kenny Pickett's job after 2 games. Whereas when we're talking about Mitch, it's 2 games. People calling for his job. Think about that. That's the part for me where it's like, man, it just seems a little overreactive. If we talking 4 weeks, kind of like what I said, right? Give these team, man, first couple weeks, man, to just figure it out, to see what their identity is, who's a playmaker, who's not a playmaker, what needs to be calibrated one way or the other. But it's hard to do any of that when it's just been 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So that's all. Give a little time. Give a little time. CDez86 says, "Can we give Todd Haley a blank check, please?" Shout out to Todd Haley, man. Oh, man. I wonder where is he at right now, man. Is he coaching somewhere? I got to look into that. Todd Haley, let's get it. But no, in all seriousness, man, I'm pro Todd Haley, man. Shoot, that was doing the golden era, man. Who's cooking over there, man? Offense was lighting it up. So, yeah, but also he had awesome personnel as well. He wasn't, having Mitch Trubisky, Deontay, and Chase Claypool. This dude was having Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. That's just a little different. Just all right, let's see who else we got in this chat, though, man. And shout out to all the Upper Room members, though, man. Big time salute to y'all, man. Like I said, man, gotta give y'all a little privacy, a little one-on-one, little less crowded situation over here. All right. So let me see in the chat. What do we have? Okay, G. Alexander, he says the main point is if we don't take shots down the field and back up the defense, the old hogs up front on the offensive line, and he says, and back up the defense. Okay, I got what you're saying now. So G. Alexander says that the main points today were that we didn't take shots downfield to back up the defense, and the offensive line could not move the defense line. And yeah, I mean, when you break it down, it is that simple. Yeah. And I would also throw the turnovers in there as well, man. You can't lose turnover battle or the turnover margin versus the Patriots. They are one of those teams where they're well coached, they're disciplined, they don't beat themselves. Everything we talk about, right? And you watch them today, they didn't do anything to really beat themselves. They have a turnover, sure, they had a couple penalties, but for the majority of it, they didn't make the mistakes that we did. And play in and play out, they were just more consistent situationally as well. And those are some of the areas that we got to improve upon. All right. Oh, Michael Patrick McCrack is spinning the block. Skirt. I see you. He says exactly. And we are going to be battling the Kenny chance until the switch. Flip the switch. All right. So then after 2 weeks, and if it looked the exact same, will we flip the switch back? You see what I'm saying? I don't think that you would feel like that. That's all. I know you might say it in this situation, this setting, but if we're being real about it and fully candid and transparent and truthful, we know that's not accurate. All righty. Donald Copeland, he says Jaylen Warren was running hard. No, he absolutely was, man. Like I said, man, he's just one of them dudes, man. I want him to get more opportunities, but at the same time, I don't, because we got Najee. And when you think about what Najee is and what we gave up to get him and all this other stuff, it's like, yo, I want us to utilize that. And he does give us our best chance to win, but he also has to be more productive. And we're going to obviously look on the tape to see what it was with him. I know he's talked about at times, the vision, missing some holes and stuff like that, missing some reads, being a little too fast, or not trusting his offense line enough either, which is completely understandable when you talk about their inconsistencies, more importantly, when we're talking about them run blocking. But yeah, when we get back and look at that tape, man, I do want to see what's going on with him and that group, because I thought that health-wise he looked fine. I didn't think that he was showing any signs of laboring, limping. Didn't look like he was limited or favoring his foot in any capacity. So it's like, all right, if it's not health-related, what's going on even from his element of this or his side of this thing, man? So that's the part that we will see. All right. But yeah, I will say this though, as it pertains to Najee, I did like how he finished. I thought, man, early on, I didn't think that he was running as, she's the best way to put it. He just wasn't being as north and south as I would like. I thought it was a little bit more lateral, a lot of little too shaky and stuff like that. Whereas I thought in the second half, he went back to like that no nonsense. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm trying to run through your face. Just being a physical runner, being a more just determined runner. I thought that, or not determined, decisive. That was what I was thinking of. Yeah, I thought in the first half he wasn't as decisive. He was, like I said, just trying to do a little bit too much, making too many guys miss, stuff like that. Where I thought in the second half it was just more so, let me be physical, let me run. Stiff arm was there, the extra aggressiveness, like that's the type of stuff I like to see from Najee, man. Absolutely. When he's doing that, when he's able to get his shoulders north and south early, he's extremely tough to bring down. You hardly ever see one guy bring him down, nor do you see him getting knocked backwards. When you see his shoulders laterally, though, when he's going north, when he's going east and west, it's not the same type of plays, not the same type of impact and stuff like that, man. But when he gets going north and south, man, it definitely showed up, and he showed that a lot more in the second half, though. All right. Man, don't tell me y'all in here calling for Duck now. Don't y'all start this. Trina, still diva. Don't you start playing. It's not time to send up the Duck signal. Don't you? No, we ain't doing that now. We're going to call the Kenny signal first. Say +1. Can we get you, please? And then we got to go Mason. All right, can't just be calling up Duck, man. Duck just chilling. Yeah. Talking about throw the daggone Duck signal up. Lord have mercy. All right. Here we go. Oh, Jacob Malicio. He says, I want to see more of Jaylen. This guy is special. I do as well, man. But how do we justify seeing more of Jaylen when we need to get Najee at the speed? We need to get Najee rolling. Because right now, we haven't seen him have one of his games just yet. Like, he's flashing. We're seeing certain things happen. But, it's not to what we want from him just yet. So I think that part of that is due to the amount of time that he missed during the preseason. Not necessarily the games, but the practice portion. Now that we knew it was because he was hurt versus them just, holding him on, being cautious. Yeah, I think that he has to get more up to speed. Kind of like we talked about with Joe Burrow a week ago, right? It was like, it's one thing they're not playing the preseason games, but it's another thing we're not getting the actual practice reps. Yes, you can be doing things to work out so you're in great conditioning and you're strong and stuff like that, but your vision, your just feel for how, how fast it's going to be out there, that's the part that you kind of miss out on. So I do wonder if part of that is, why we haven't seen the type of productivity that we want from him. But I want to get him settled first before we start giving more opportunity to Jalen Warren. AJ Martinez, he says, that is it. I don't know how disciplined we are. We should have beat New England by 10. I don't believe they have more star players than we do. No, they definitely don't have more star players. And honestly, if you go roster for roster, player for player, man, we got a nice roster, in contrast to New England. There's not a lot of players on their team that I would want to take and put on our team as starters over who we have. Matthew Judon, yeah, he's one of them. I ain't gonna lie to you, he's definitely one of them. But yeah, it's not a lot of these dudes, man, from that side. Maybe some offensive linemen. All right, I ain't gonna go there. Cole Strange. Oh, okay. But other than that, though, it's not a lot of personnel that they have that we would want on our team. And I thought that as a whole, yeah, we do have the better roster. But discipline matters. And it's not always about who has the better roster, as we saw last week. Because what I'm saying this week, in terms of us having the better roster versus the Patriots and us still losing, is how Cincinnati Bengals fans feel when they're like, how the heck, with our roster being what it is, how did we lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's the part of it, though, right? Last week, we executed a lot better. We were more disciplined. We didn't turn the ball over. We stopped the run when we needed to. We did all of these little things, right? We checked them all off. Check. Whereas the Bengals, they were doing all the opposite things, right? So we were able to get out of there. It was tight, but we got it done. This week, we just didn't do those same things. The consistency wasn't there. And that's the part of us having to understand that. And more importantly, this team having to understand that in order for them to win this year, they're going to have to be buttoned up. They're going to have to play mistake-free football because that margin of error is small, and that is largely due to the quarterback play. And I was saying that it doesn't matter if it's Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, or Kenny Pickett. We are going to have a smaller margin of error this year because we are not having, top 5 elite quarterback play. Until we get back to that, you have to win games by playing good ball, by playing good defense, by not turning it over, by creating turnovers, by pressuring quarterbacks, by being able to run the ball, and more importantly, being able to stop the run. So until we get that top 5 quarterback, we got to do all those other things a lot better and a lot more consistently, man. So hopefully they will. But this is one of those growing pains for us as a team. And I think that, when they go out there and check on that tape, they'll see it and they'll feel optimistic about some of these things because, like I said, it wasn't a god-awful performance. It was definitely some positives in there, but you can see where we came up short in certain areas. AJ Martinez says, tell Deke to go to Ben's house and come back to the Steelers instead of going to Dallas. Hey, man, remember, it wasn't Ben that didn't say he wanted to be here. He said that it was, coach and GM that didn't want him anymore. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. Cedez 86 says, could we switch from Mitch to Mason and save Kenny for the second half of the season if need be? Yeah, technically they could. Yeah, it's nothing that says, which way they could make a move, but at the same time, I don't think they need to make a move after 2 weeks. I'm over here like, man, there's certain things that Mitch did that were positives in this game and there was positives in last week's game. The biggest negatives for Mitch Trubisky is not necessarily him not protecting the ball. It's him taking a little bit more chances. It's not that he can't throw the ball. It's not that he doesn't throw a good ball. It's not that when he takes chances and throws combat catches or combat throws that he's accurate in those, because we've seen him do some of those things. The problem is he's not doing it enough. He's not taking enough chances. He's being a little bit too conservative. And that's the part where we need him to dial that and switch that setting up with him internally. Some players, they are more wired to, just be high percentage guys versus risk takers. Talk about the difference between gunslingers and just, the more safe quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph versus Duck Hodges, prime example. With Mason, he wasn't turning the ball when he got that opportunity his rookie year, right? Or, his second year. But at the same time, he wasn't taking enough chances. So even though he would have a ton of completions and he wasn't turning the ball over, we still felt stagnant. But the flip side was what? Doug Hodges was coming here to take all the chances. But the decision making wasn't what it needed to be, and the turnovers would happen, and that was ultimately why we didn't, stick with him and why he wasn't able to last. So when you're talking about Trubisky, it's like, man, he's not the biggest issue, or he doesn't have the biggest issues in terms of ball security or decision making. His issue is risk taking. So hopefully that's something that can get, coached into him or talked about more. But either way, that's the area where he has to be improved upon. But it's not like he has this overall, man, everything is bad, because it's not the case. But he does have to be better though, man, 100%. Okay. Myron Bennett says, why does our offense always look so condensed? Like the field is shrunk. Even the bad teams with bad O-lines I watch make plays in space. Yeah, they typically take chances. But part of the reason why they're bad is because they take them chances. Because, yeah, you might win on occasion, but as a whole, the more you take those chances, if you're not hitting them, then it could bite you back in the butt. But, yeah, our offense looks condensed because we're not stretching the field enough right now. And until we do that, it is going to continue to look very boxed in, very claustrophobic, and just not explosive. And that's not what we want. That's not what we're accustomed to, man. We're coming off of the 7 time, man, where, everything was nice. Everything was explosive, man. But we will see how it, goes going forward, though. But shout out to you, though. Oh, is that the homie Damon Brown? Let me take a sip and shout out to you because I did see him earlier today. No, it's definitely dope to see you, man. But Damon says, I must say, aside from the loss, there's not a person on this earth that has more fun than or been showed more love than me in Pittsburgh. Glad I got a chance to meet you. Wish I could have caught up with Deke as well. The receivers were visibly pissed. Yeah, for those that don't know, man, did get a chance to see Damon Brown earlier today while I was at Acrisure Stadium doing my pregame interviews, man. Had Robert Golden with me. Shout out to my homie right there, man. But yeah, man, Damon Brown pulled up on me, man. It was major love, man. So salute you. Always a good time, man. More importantly, I appreciate the contribution as well to the channel, man. Definitely means a lot. But I can understand the receivers being pissed, man. 100% can, man. It's one thing when you're not having protection. It's one thing when you don't have time. But it's another thing, man, when the quarterback is just not willing to take those chances. And today it was leaning a little bit more towards that side. So, yeah, he got to be better. Mitch, I'm talking about. He has to be better in that capacity, man. But, nah, man, shout out to you, Damon. I'm glad you had a great time out there today. All right. G. Alexander, he says, crazy. No matter QB, hurry up is our best looking O. Yeah. And I think part of that is because, number one, it allows the offensive line to get the D-line to be fatigued. So it helps them on protection. Number two, I think the quarterbacks think less. And they're just reacting. They're just playing. Whereas when you're going in the huddle, you're doing your mechanics, it's like they're too buttoned up at times. And I think that the defenses are more in tune. Whereas when you're talking hurry-up offense or 2-minute offense, defensively, man, it can have you on your heels. It can have you forced to only play 2 calls. If you're a team that says, hey, man, on every 2-minute or every hurry-up, we're going to cover 3, and if it goes empty, we're going to cover 2, it's like, man, after the first 2 plays, we in. That's also part of the reason why it works. But we need to do more of it in certain cases, and that's the part where we got to be better at in terms of the coordinator element of putting some of that in there or putting more of that in there. All right. Jacob Malicio, he says, will you please tell people there are no scrubs in the NFL? Oh, man, you preach to the choir with that one, man. I've been saying that since we started talking podcast, radio, whatever. Yeah, you tell me that you point to the scrubs and just Google those scrubs. And they're all Americans, player of the years, all states, 5-star, 3, like whatever you name, like they all are good. They all were somebody at somebody's university, high school, like everybody's good. So yes, I agree. There are no scrubs, man. But there are players that execute better than others, and that is the difference. All right, Lou Bo, he says, do you think Anthony McFarland would be good? Far as bouncing it outside or question mark? Yeah, he would bring some stuff to the table with his speed, but the problem is the lateralness. You put McFarland in there, and that's fine, and he might win a couple, beating a guy to the edge. But still, as a whole, we're not trying, like at the NFL level, it's too much speed to win laterally. The guys that win are the guys that go north and south. You even think about like a Chris Johnson, when he was in Tennessee with the Titans. He was a scat back, a speed guy. He wasn't out running guys to the edge and beating them around the corner. Nah, it's too much speed in this league. He was hitting it downhill, A gap, B gap, foot race, but it's straight ahead. That's where the speed can take over. For Anthony McFarland, it has to be similar. He's not going to beat too many guys going sideways. Dude's too fast defensively. But he can get it if he gets that footing around north and south. But part of that does spoil back to the offensive line. And they got to do a better job of creating running lanes. So until they do that, I don't think, putting McFarland in is going to give us, a huge uptick in terms of results. All right. AJ Martinez, he says, Mr. Brown, bringing a 50 spot. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. We salute you. Yes, we do. And he also said the wide receivers were pissed. Thank God. No, man, they should be pissed, man. And I'm hoping that, when they all go back to the film room and stuff like that, coordinators, coaches, Trubisky and company, that they'll all be able to get back on one accord and understand that, hey, these are some of the things that you were doing well. These are some of the things that you struggle with. These are some of the reasons why we were pissed, but these are some of the reasons why we're optimistic about you. And that's ultimately how you grow and how you improve at this level, man. You can't run away from the hard conversation. You can't run away from this tape. You got to dive into this thing, man. So hopefully they will do that. Oh, I did see another super that just popped up before we tapped out of this thing, man. AJ Martinez joining the party. He said, Damon Brown, I got you. I see y'all two looking at each other going ham. Salute you. He says, here's another 50 spot from me, Master Moats. God bless everyone on Sunday, 21-10. Steelers over the Browns. So you hear AJ Martinez calling it now, bright and early, man. But like I said, 24-hour rule. So we are gonna, sit on this one. We'll take this one on the chin. But Thursday night we back at it. But more importantly, man, y'all know we back on this thing podcast live tomorrow, 4 p.m. start time. You definitely don't want to miss that. Promo code, like I said, for Manscaped, because they are the ones that did bring all the post-game show today. Promo code is Moats, man, so definitely tap into that. Get you 20% off along with your free shipping worldwide at manscaped.com. Make sure y'all like the stream, man. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, but y'all know y'all always subscribe because y'all the homies, so big time love for each and every one of y'all. And, we're going to get this thing right. So until next time, baby, peace.